I mean, that has to be one of the worst losses of the year, right? That's right up there with Cleveland. This is thoroughly embarrassing for the Spurs in a game that they absolutely needed to win if they wanted any hope of keeping pace in the West with a red hot Memphis team that's looking like they deserve to go to the playoffs. Uh, the Spurs right now do not need they don't deserve to go to the playoffs. Um, this was horrendous to lose this game. This was absolutely horrendous. DeMar DeRozan, not the problem. He had 25, 9, and 9. Another efficient night. Only 9 of 18, so he didn't shoot crazy, but still 50%. That's efficient. LaMarcus Aldridge, also not the problem. 30 points in this game. He fouled out on some very soft calls in the last minute of this game. Um, but the bottom line is, you if you're the Spurs, you shouldn't be losing at home to the Hawks. You shouldn't be having a game that the refs can impact the final minute against the Hawks. So why did they lose this game? Okay. Um, Bryn Forbes. I never want to see Bryn Forbes play in a Spurs uniform again. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of watching this. 2 of 9 tonight. 1 of 6 from 3. Garbage defense. Getting burnt by Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter. The Spurs won the third quarter 41-21. Take a double-digit lead. And in the fourth quarter, we saw a lineup with Bryn and Patty together with DeMar, attempting to play defense. This was just terrible rotation management by Pop. It was awful. You can't expect to play good defense when you continue to play terrible defenders. Can't do it. Doesn't work. But the best is when Sean Elliott goes, "Oh, it was too easy." Yeah, it was too easy. Whose guy was that? It was Bryn Forbes' guy. Kevin Huerter finished with 18 points tonight. And Pop went to Derek and DeJounte together down the stretch of this game. But on the last play, he had Patty Mills guarding Trae Young. Like, how do you have those two guys on the court, but the Hawks still have a good matchup because Patty's still out there? And it's been like this all year. I'm upset too, Steve. I don't know how you could care about this team and not be a little upset. I mean, they let the Hawks come into their building and shoot 19 of 40 from 3. They're the worst three-point shooting team in the league. And they shot the lights out. Why does Bryn average more minutes per game than Derek? Great question. No idea. Couldn't tell you. It's a mystery. There's no good reason for it. Trey Lyles, another 0 point game. He looked ridiculous out there tonight. Um, there was one play where he had a wide open layup and kicked it to DeJounte Murray in the corner. He's not a shooter. And yeah, let's talk about pulling Lonnie for Marco in the fourth quarter. There's 5 minutes left in the game. Spurs have a small and shrinking lead. Trae Young draws a foul on Lonnie Walker, his second foul. Pop pulls him from the game, puts in Marco, and Lonnie's like hanging his head on the bench. And then the Spurs start getting torched. Like, I would never question Greg Popovich. You guys know that about me. I mean, the guy's a five-time NBA champion. He's forgotten more about basketball than any of us will ever learn. But I got a question. Why? Just why? People like to tell me like, oh, Pop knows what he's doing. Like, he benched Tony Parker for Speedy Claxton. Like, this is just how he does it. Like you don't need to manufacture adversity for these young guys. Teams 17 and 23. You don't need to create situations for them to face adversity. There's plenty of adversity because the team is not great. Damari Carroll didn't even suit up tonight. Maybe they'll trade him. At this point, I hope they'll trade him because they're not using him for anything. And it's awful for him that he's not playing and they're playing this badly and he still can't crack the rotation. Um, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, and Marco Bellinelli all played pretty much the same exact minutes this game. Uh, they all played right around 17, 18 minutes, and Bryn played 26. Bryn Forbes is not a starter in the NBA. This has been clear for months now. And this was a great game for DeMar DeRozan. He almost had a 25-point triple-double. This is a great game for LaMarcus Aldridge. The Hawks don't have anyone who can guard him. And the Spurs lost this game because they couldn't play defense and because the rotation was garbage. I need a drink, man. That was ridiculous. Yeah. Pop's lineups in the fourth quarter lost the game. Absolutely. 100%. That's what happened. There's no way around that fact. At least 5 wins. Yeah. Yeah, Pop has cost at least 5 wins with the rotation. Maybe more. There were multiple times in that fourth quarter where Pop made a change in the lineup, and I was like, "What is the reason for this? Like, what could possibly be the thought process?" It's like, "Oh, you know what we need with a 10-point lead? We need Bryn and Patty out there together trying to guard Trey Young." What is that? So where does this leave the Spurs? Well, record-wise, it leaves them at 17 and 23. That's not good. Uh, this is right up there with the Cavs loss. Um, this one, I think, might have been even more preventable. Um, yeah, no, guys play bad for sure. I get that. There were way too many turnovers. You're absolutely right. Um, the decision making was off in this game, but still, they found something that worked in that third quarter. And then what happened? Um, the Spurs are in a position now where they are heading toward the trade deadline, which is early February, and it's still kind of up in the air if they're gonna move DeMar or LaMarcus. Um, I mean, um, like, and again, this game is not on DeMar or LaMarcus, but if they're losing games like this, their grasp on the season is slipping pretty bad. Um, and I am still of the thought process that moving DeMar DeRozan for an asset before he well, I think that would be smart. Why did DeMar take the last shot and miss? Uh, What do you mean? Why did he take the last shot? Because he's the guy on the team who takes the last shot. You want DeMar to take the last shot. It was not a great shot. The Hawks played swarming defense on that last inbound and made it really hard. But my God, I want Bryn Forbes gone. I want Marco Bellinelli gone. I want Damari Carroll to go somewhere uh, where he'll play. Those are the trades that I see happening before the deadline. Like those are the more likely trades, in my opinion. Um, but I have no idea why Pop pulled Lonnie in the fourth quarter of this game and put in Marco. That's inexcusable. You really think they're going to get Robert Covington for a guy who hasn't played this year for a reason and for Bryn Forbes? Are you on crack? No, that's not going to happen. I love some of the trades you guys come up with. I really do. Like, like what if we just traded all of our garbage for like a really good role player? The other team would do that, right? My God. Sorry, I'm not mad at you. It's just been a stressful evening. Jesus. Uh, yeah, I would love for the Spurs to trade DeMar for Aaron Gordon. A trade centered around that would be lovely, I think. Um, and again, DeMar has been really good. He's been playing really well the past month. But he's been playing really well the last month, and the Spurs are still 6 games under 500. Um, this team is in complete disarray. Like, they went from beating Milwaukee and the Celtics, lost to the Grizzlies, beat Toronto, kind of expected the Miami loss, and then they lost at home to the Hawks for the first time since 1997. Dominique Wilkins was on the Spurs. Keldon Johnson called up from Austin. Chimezie Metu called up from Austin for this game. Rudy Gay was out. Those guys could have got some minutes. Instead, we got almost 20 minutes of Marco Bellinelli at power forward. Oh, I'm sick of this, man. I disagree that Murray played poorly. Um, he shot 50% from the floor. He had 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. He spent the entire night. I think Trey had like 31. He's a fantastic player. That's going to happen. Yeah, Trey had 31 and 9. Um, I'll go through the tape, but I mean, DeJounte Murray was nowhere near the reason that the Spurs lost this game. Um, yeah, he made Trey Young work. That's all you can do. There are great players in this league. People get on me sometimes. They're like, "Oh, why are you always so mean to Bryn?" But like, if DeJounte or Derek White have a bad game on defense, you don't say anything. Well, it's not that I don't say anything. One, Trey Young versus if you're guarding Kevin Herter. Me, Jimmy who? I don't know any Jimmys. Ugh. There, there's no excuse for what we saw in the fourth quarter. There, that was pitiful. Um, if I were the GM at the deadline, I would be looking to move Bryn Forbes, Marco Bellinelli, Damari Carroll, and probably DeMar DeRozan. Those are the guys I would be trying to move. Aldridge has shown that his play style can mesh well with these young guys if he's playing complementary ball. Um, and Demar's been great, but his limitations and his contract situation are the main reasons that I would be trying to move him. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Like I thought this team had direction like a week ago, and shows what I know. Um, and the Cleveland loss was a low point for sure, but this is an even lower point, even if it's not a worse loss because it's later in the season, and it's that much more devastating blow to the psyche of this team as they're like trying to figure this out. That's a good question. If Lonnie starts over Forbes, what happens to the bench lineup? Because you can't have White, Forbes, and Mills. You can't have Forbes and Mills on at the same time. You trade Bryn Forbes. You get rid of Bryn Forbes. Like the the Express News guys, especially for anything, for whatever. It doesn't matter what you trade him for as long as he's no longer on the team. I would run a bench unit of Derek White, Patty Mills, Keldon Johnson, Rudy, and Pirtle. There you go. That's the watching this team gives me a headache, man. Yeah, it is going to be awkward when they beat the Heat by 20 on Sunday. I'm going to be there for that game, and I'm sure Bryn is going to shoot like 5 of 8 from three in that one, have like 18 points. I'm sure of it. And this team's going to be stuck in purgatory. Uh, and yeah, let me just address this before I let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Haha. Uh, don't let anybody tell you that like complaining about what we're seeing from this Spurs team is like unbecoming or whiny. Don't let people tell you that. I respect the Express News guys. I listen to their podcast. I like them. They do good work. Uh, and yes, some of you are mad annoying to them, I'm sure. But like it's not just people on Twitter. It's anyone with a brain and eyeballs and a simple understanding of basketball can see that this has been terrible coaching. Like yeah, I don't know. I'm sick of this, man. Um, Good news. Uh, changing the subject a little. Uh, Tomorrow, Lonnie is doing a charity workout to raise money for the Australian bushfire relief. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do a video from there. Um, I'm gonna hopefully get a couple questions with Lonnie. He's always been very gracious with his time with me. Um, so that'll be fun. I'll struggle through this workout and post the footage for your entertainment. Um, but yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know at this point. Um, as long as Bryn Forbes is a starter on this team is going absolutely nowhere. Um, and I guess you could say the same about Trey Lyles. Um, Lonnie looked really good in the third quarter. He had 9 points. Um, he looked solid. Um, and Pop gave him the hook in the fourth for who knows what. Um, this game was a great example of why the Spurs have been so bad this year. Um, and most of it rests with the head coach. Simple as that. And we know they're not going to make a change in head coach. Um, so we'll see if they make any trades. I don't think they'll make any trades just because it's not how they operate. But uh, yeah, all right. I'm gonna go drink heavily. Uh, I'll see you guys. Go Spurs, go or whatever, or not. I don't know.